That thing is black magic. 100%.
Yeah, it is, and what's so funny is like there hasn't been a new version of that in I think 12 years. In a new version.
Well, yeah,
of that
because it says on the website. Like I just googled it. I was going to text you
years?
and be like, "Where do I get this thing from?" And then well, yeah, no, let me just Google it before I start bugging you. Found the website for it, and it was like, "Oh, you need to be running Windows 7." And I was like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah, and basically the text on their site is like, "Look, if it stops working, we don't care because we're done making it." It's like, oh, well, okay. Thankfully, it still works.
And guess what? It still works really, really well.
I feel like if as soon as it dies, someone else will make a new version of it.
Yeah, an ode to Levelator.
Yeah, someone will make a pact with the Dark Lord and say, "I offer my soul for Levelator 2."
Yes. Although random thoughts occurring to me, Boston, you need to add onto the news stories for tomorrow, if you don't mind, the Sea of Thieves achievement list reveal, because it's fucking incredible.
Okay. Let me open up. I don't have show notes for tomorrow yet, so let's start some. Make a copy.
I saw True Achievements had the list, so I just quickly jumped into it. I was like, fuck, these are worth talking about. 100% these are worth talking about.
So next week is going to be, or tomorrow is going to be 543. 2018.
We're getting old.
Yeah. That will be on the 19th of March. Might as well share it with you while we're here.
Oh, thank you. I did make me laugh. Like I was catching up on my Bombcast and stuff, and one of the things they talked about for ages on it was, "Oh, Bombcast's like one of the oldest running podcasts out there." I was like, "Fuck you!"
Like, wait a minute.
It's like I haven't been here since day one, but Boston has.
I found one show that's older. If you don't count the GameSpot stuff, I found
that's all finished now, isn't it? Like that's pretty much done and dusted.
Think so, yeah. I always sort of put the GameSpot stuff and Giant Bomb together, since it's basically the same show.
Yeah, it's the same crew, isn't it? They just moved away for a little bit.
Yeah. I found one other show that started in like early 2007, like 10 months before this show did. And I couldn't tell if they have been as regular. Yeah. Because that's the thing, like, we haven't missed a week, so...
Speaking of black magic.
There have been a couple of weeks that have been short, but an episode came out. This episode brought to you by Mountain Dew White Label. It's too sunny in here for you to see it.
Yep. And Moonpier is feeling sick, so he gets his sickness cup today, which is...
Hey, I have one of those downstairs.
Yep.
In my house, not in your house.
I got it last year when I was feeling sick. Although, yeah, Jess picked it up for me. Although, speaking of hair, you're about to see the shithole, which is my room here. But check out what she's been doing as like a little project. Like that side, and there's one that side too.
Oh.
That's sound battles, basically. Wooden frames covered in cloth.
Yeah.
And she started doing them the other day. There's actually a whole bunch on the other side of the room behind me as well. I can't be bothered moving the curtain. But there's a whole bunch all around the walls, which we're going to fill them in with like more cloth inside and then seal the back of them. And then hopefully I won't need this thing to keep the sound quality well in here. Like it will actually not echo.
You should just replace it with the green one and then just load like a random like room from somewhere else. Like every single podcast. Like
I'm in the Louvre. Whoa.
What's Moon doing back in England?
Moon's on the moon. Wow.
Fuck you for going there immediately.
Hey, it's low-hanging fruit. I'll take it. It made someone laugh, I bet. Even if it's just me.
That green screen stuff is surprisingly like not super hard to do. Like
no.
Susie has it's literally a green cloth, and she just has to have enough light to make sure that the camera differentiates her from the cloth.
Yeah.
And she can put whatever the hell she wants behind her.
Yeah, it seems to have come a long way since like the early days of green screens when I was a kid, and it's like, well, I can see your hair is outlined very clearly.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah. Look, it's still going to look like a green screen. You're not going to get around that.
Yeah.
true. But
Yeah,
the
the
fact that
great
you can
thing
do
about
it like
XSplit is they do chroma keying really easily. It's just 2 clicks. You click chroma key and then you click your background and it says, okay, cool, I got it.
Nice.
like, really nice.
And some webcams will do it live now, actually, even if you don't have a green screen.
It's really creepy.
It's really weird.
That's
well,
cool.
we ran into the vividness of my hoodie last week on the actual TVGP episode.
Color changing hoodie.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in Musim, but the camera, like the bright color it is now, it was like a muted color. And then if I'd move slightly towards it, it would go bright and vivid color, and then I could move further away and it'd go dull again. It was really weird.
So weird.
I keep, I think about it when we're not doing this. And then when we do it, we haven't done it. We're both going to wear our Mass Effect hoodies one of these days, Moon.
Oh, that's fine by me.
Brand
I don't have
synergy.
the same one you do, but I have 2 of them.
Oh, man. Oh, I forgot to promote this on, well, everywhere, I guess.
Man, what if for Game Club we just played through all 3 Mass Effect games every single month? Like,
That'd be all right.
What? Do a trilogy like during over the winter when it's a bit quieter. Do like,
but I mean, like, every single month. Like, that's all we play.
Mass Effect Game Club.
I tell you one person who would love that. She's sitting downstairs right now.
Yeah.
I love those.
Oh.
Me too.
Okay. I am ready. Are you guys ready to get this thing started?
Yes.
Okay. That was
Let's-
weird.
You don't do a show notes thing for this thing, right?
No, I just have it because it's all the, it's literally all like the intro stuff that we go through, just all written down, and then there's 2 bullet points that says what we liked, what we didn't like,
Oh, okay.
and then the next game, which is a secret. Unless
it.
you're a patron, then it's not a secret.
I cast my vote on Patreon, but I haven't looked at it since. No, I'm not going to spoil it for myself. I'm going to wait until the end of the episode.
Chosen by patrons.
I know the game I voted for was not winning when I cast my vote.
Ditto.
Was yours
alright.
the top? Was yours the top game?
Nope.
Yours was the middle one. Yeah. I can't remember what the other 2 were. I can't even remember what I voted for. Aren't I great?
Perfect. All right, you gents ready?
Yep.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. It's the 3rd Saturday of the month, so we're back with a Game Club recap episode. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpeer
Hello there.
and Musim.
Hi.
And we're here to talk about West of Loathing, everybody's favorite stick figure Wild West RPG with cow punching.
Yes.
Let's break this down. There's going to be spoilers, of course, as always, but I don't know what that really means. So if you're worried about spoilers, just go play it and then come back.
I think with this one, the spoilers are we might talk about stuff you didn't do.
Yeah.
Because there is going to be stuff you did do that we didn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Game was released on August 10th, 2017, developed and published by Asymmetric Publications. Came out on PC, OS X, and Linux. This is... I don't know why I didn't put this together. This is the same team that did Kingdom of Loathing, which is literally the same game, just in a web browser.
Yep.
So-
I saw the promotion for it, I think, was at the credits.
I think
At
so.
the end of the credits, they did a mention for it, but I've never played Kingdom of Loathing, so I don't know.
It's
I've
one of
never
those things
played
where
it
it's like, oh yeah, they made this. Of course they made this game because it's the same thing, just with different class names. Whoops. Time travel, Metacritic 86, OpenCritic 85, which is much higher than we've had for a lot of games on the show.
Yes, it is.
Peers for the release date, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, Lawbreakers, sorry Lawbreakers, StarCraft Remastered, Nidhogg 2, Sonic Mania, and Undertale came out on PS4 and PS Vita. So, kind of a lot of really great games for
Yep.
that whole list. Last question we asked before we dive into the game: top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked? I'd say top of the pile. It maybe took a little bit of time to catch on, but I think it was pretty well regarded.
I hadn't even heard of this game until you brought it up for Game Club. But
Okay.
I'm also not somebody who, like, I listen to my video game podcasts, but I'm not someone
on
who...
one.
I am on one as well, yes. Which is shocking how out of touch I am with current releases. Tune in tomorrow, folks, for some fun on that front. But no, I honestly didn't know a thing about it at all until you talked about it last week, and then I was hooked.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I hadn't heard about it until Susie bought it for me. One of the streamers she followed, I guess, played it, but I don't think I saw anything on it on Polygon or Waypoint or Giant Bomb or really any of the websites I go to normally, and like didn't really hear its name at all in those websites till near the end. So
Yeah, I think we had talked about it on Pup RPG Love pretty close to its release too.
Well, that's when Susie got it for me, and I played a little bit of it. I'm like, this is great, and then I got stuck and just never went back to it. Too much came out last year, man.
Yeah. Yes. All right, let's dive into the game itself. Starting off, with what we like and what we didn't like. We'll sort of weave these together. I feel like with West of Loathing, you sort of have to talk about the writing.
Yeah, because it's the thing that keeps you going through the game, and it's also probably the best written game in at least 5-10 years, maybe.
Yeah, we had talked about on TVGP that I don't necessarily think it's a quote unquote funny game. I think there's some stuff in there that's really clever, but I feel like when people think of a funny game, they think this is going to be like this knee-slapping, like laughing out loud, hilarious thing, but it's more about how a little bit of fourth wall breaking the game is in general, but also just the strength of some really smart, clever writing throughout the entirety of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like a game starring Leslie Nielsen, right? Like it could be like a like a Naked Gun or Airplane. Like everyone's very matter of fact about the ridiculous going on in it, but you don't usually find yourself just laughing out loud on the ground. It's not that stick of truth South Park level with your parents in the background or something.
Oh.
Just
it's more like
shock.
It's more like when you run across something and you read it, you're always sort of like, ha, cool. It's that sort of like the one of my favorite through lines of the game that probably everybody's going to run into are the spittoons. That I like that the game itself starts disgusted with you and then continues to get more and more grossed out until the end where it's like, you know what, you're going to do it. Like, I know what you're going to do. Dive in there, go get that thing. You're disgusting.
Yeah. I love it because in that last one it's like, do you want to give it a kiss? You give it a kiss.
Yeah, like it's just unhinged. Did you guys do the spittoon in the jelly bean?
Yes, and you get the perk for having the multicolored hand.
Yeah, which thankfully was actually a positive curse.
Yes,
but oh god, West of Loathing. I think one of the other things I liked about West of Loathing, I guess, ironically, is the game's engine. So it's a black and white stick figure game, but there's a lot of subtle stuff, like when you're in a cave and you have your little lantern out and you pass by a rock, there's actually moving shadows based on the light. I mean, it almost sounds like we're talking about like the first PlayStation game we've played, where it's like, oh my god, there's shadows. But it's one of those little things in this game where you don't think anything's going to happen because the game almost fools you into thinking it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's like those, like the gifs you see of like people who've done a whole bunch of like stick figure art, and it starts off as just a really smoothly animated like stick figure walking across the page, and then it turns into an anime firefight where they're firing fireballs at each other. You think to yourself, wow, whoever did this has got insane talent, because all of the little touches they add on makes it so much more than just a stick figure drawing. And that's how the game feels. It's like, yeah, I can see how it's stick figures walking around. It's very simple character design. It's very simple art design. But the touches like the tumbleweeds going past, and
yeah.
When you start, I didn't actually get the chance to complete it, but if you get far enough down the vibration technology quest line,
vibrato,
yeah, you'll see electronic, like little electronic lines in areas where I found out after I'd beat the game. You can open portals there to go into like an ultimate dimension.
Wow, so, I didn't run into any of that.
So many little touches that it does that can make the biggest difference, like in regards to appreciating the actual artwork. It's so much more than just stick figures on a 3D plane.
Yeah, I mean it's got a lot of style. I mean, like the opening menu, you can shoot basically everything on it. Like even like the clouds, and you shoot the cloud, and you don't think it happens at first, and then the second layer, it,
yeah, there's a delay.
It goes into pieces.
God,
all that stuff is so good.
Yeah, definitely. It's so much more than I was expecting based on screenshots. When it comes to the actual engine, it's like graphically, yeah, it's simple. You could probably run this on a calculator, but at the same time, it's the little touches that make the big difference. And that I came to love the game by the end of it, just on that aspect alone. Let alone the writing, which, as we discussed, was incredible from start to finish. Just the wisecracking backwards and forwards between everything. Like, I love this game. Like, wholeheartedly, this game is incredible.
It would have been made my top 10 last year pretty easily.
There's a surprising amount of depth in that stat system in there too, for as ridiculous as all of it is. Like,
yeah, I was gonna have us talk about. We talked about a lot of stuff, but I guess we haven't sort of started at the beginning of the game. Which class did you guys pick at the beginning?
Cowpuncher.
I went with the Snake Oiler.
Okay, I picked Cowpuncher because I liked the lore that most people have been killed by these roaming bands of killer cows.
Yep.
That's just the most ridiculous thing, and I love it. I sort of wish I wrote down a couple of notes here. Which buddy did you guys pick at the beginning?
Oh, I
picked
remember.
Doc Alice.
I can't remember her name, but it was the rancher lady, the lady whose family was killed, the one who's like
Susie.
Yes, in the bar, she doesn't say anything, but if you discover her backstory, you can invite her along to kill some cows.
That's one I did too. Did you guys find the secret option, the goblin?
No, I did not. I was speaking goblin tongue by that point, but I hadn't figured him out yet.
Yeah, the prologue's weird because like this was my previously when I played the game, I'd gotten I think I had just gotten to the second area or something, but like the prologue has all these little parts that you can unlock in the prologue, and every time you start a new game, whatever you've already unlocked in that prologue, you can just skip the prologue and select them. But if you haven't unlocked it, you can't pick it.
Oh, okay.
So, it's kind of weird, but. Yeah, like what you do is I think you get the goblin tongue from Doc Alice if you don't already have it, and you just go talk to the goblin in the cellar that you're hired to kill in the bar.
Yes.
And you can take him with you.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of cool. Like, that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I took Doc Alice mostly because I liked her as this, like, country frontier doctor that also has a huge alcohol problem. But, man, she is incredibly strong because the more skeletons you fight, the stronger she gets and the more skills she gets. And
okay, so her thing was skeletons.
Yeah, and like at some point really early in the game, she learns a skill where she just one-shots a skeleton. No matter how strong or weak they are, she just attacks them and just kills them in one shot. So some of the game was pretty trivial, which is pretty great.
Yes. Susie's is cows. When you kill cows,
makes sense.
What text appeared when Doc Alice got stronger?
I think it just said Doc Alice discovered new knowledge or something. Like it wasn't interesting.
Yeah, Susie's is Susie has a grim face and notches another notch into the rifle of her gun. Susie got stronger.
Nice. Oh man. I'm trying to think that I think the strength of West of Loathing is sort of the going to be the biggest weakness for us talking about this show, in that there are basically three main points in the story, which is you're trying to get this railroad company from one side of the map all the way to the other side of the map to Frisco.
Yep.
And you can do it in about a bajillion different ways, so that makes for a really fun game and makes for maybe a bit of a rambling episode here. So
yeah,
I guess here starts the rambling of this is the cool stuff we've seen. I mostly... Whoop, go ahead.
As I say, I can tell you about the horses. Are you guys aware of what they do?
I didn't know they did anything, but I knew there was different options.
Yeah, and I'm sad I didn't pick the ghost horse.
Yeah, so I don't have them all memorized, but they all attract certain events to you. Like the ghost horse, you will get 2 more Nex Mex books than you would have otherwise.
Nex Mex, so good.
The horse with the crazy eyes gets you on track for the L vibrato stuff earlier.
Okay, that's why I bumped into that so early, because I went with crazy eyes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember what the other 2 horses do, but they all have some sort of event type thing that they attract.
That's kind of cool. I did not know that. That would have been helpful.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. Like, because in reading about like the intro and the setup on like the wikis, kind of hit or miss. Like you learn some interesting things how it's built, but it doesn't always tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
The conversation you have with your brother, I guess, can affect how the prologue town is set up, for instance. Because your brother will be like, why are you leaving the farm? And you can choose one of 3 options. And I guess one of them will get you more money or something like that. And I'm not sure what the other 2 do.
Yeah, I think I picked the option where it's like, I want to help people or something. And apparently that was accidentally the best one.
Me too. I picked that one as well, because in the credits, like it calls out exactly what you said to him. Like when you get to the end credits, it says, "Oh, you left the farm because you wanted to help people. You helped this number of people.
Right.
You did really good, or you did bad. I'm assuming."
Yeah.
God, I don't even remember what my credits said, but I picked to get off the farm because it's like I'm a snake oiler. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but when you're a snake oiler and you leave, the item that your parents give you is a briefcase full of snakes.
That's incredible.
I love this game. Like, I think that's one of the things, I think I talked about it on our Discord server. That's one of the reasons why I'm happy this game is a little shorter. I think I blew through it in about 6 hours. Is because I want to go back and play through. Like, this could be one of those games I play every year. Where it's like, all right, it's a rainy weekend, like, I don't have anything to do. I'm going to play as a snake oiler this time, and I'm going to try all these different options, or like, I'm going to try and do the Nex Mex necromancy stuff this time and see how that stuff goes. You know, I think they were really smart in making this game shorter like that, because instead of saying like, oh my god, I have to go through 30 hours to go through a whole playthrough, and just be like, all right, I'm going to do this real dumb stuff this time, and if it blows up, that's fine. I just spent like 3 hours. No big deal.
Yeah.
It, for the most part, doesn't punish you for trying things out. There are a couple puzzles that will close themselves after X amount of tries. Like the potion puzzle in the buffalo pile.
Yeah, that's for the jelly beans, isn't it?
For the reanimation potion.
Oh, that one I didn't do.
Oh, I didn't run into that.
Oh no, wait, I know the one you talk about. It's blood before something else.
Yeah.
I listened to the conversations that the guys were having to try and figure out what it is, and then after a while I was just like, no, I'm lost. This has never been my forte.
You see, I just was like, screw it, I'm going to try this, and kept trying it, and then one of the valves decided to stop working after like 3 tries. So
weird.
So that's one of them, but like it's just like they're all like weird little minor plot points, and it's I don't know, it's crazy how that stuff stacks up. Like I took a lot of the necromancy books, but I didn't go all the way with it. Did you guys do the keep your auto spend XP on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I turned that off. Like the first time I played through as the snake oiler. I didn't understand when I was getting what and whatnot, and I turned that off. And the snake oiler is it's kind of a buff class, right? So its main thing is, or at least the way I used it, is I had a potion that I threw on a guy, and it would reduce his moxie. And moxie is the stat that makes you either tougher or more susceptible to bullets, basically. So,
which is a really great stat.
Yeah. It's a free action. So every fight I would start out just dousing the entire enemy in moxie, and then just shoot the crap out of them over the next couple rounds. It was a little bit time consuming doing it that way, but
sure.
It taught me a lot more about the stats than I think I would have learned otherwise.
Yeah, that is something that, like, if I had a negative for the game, it's that there is so much stuff in this game, like so many stats, so many perks, so many buffs, so many everything, and
a ton of items.
Yeah, and by the time you get near even to the midpoint of the game, you're just, I don't know what half this stuff is. I don't know what these perks that I've just got. I don't know what Glamorous does. I don't know what Glamorous is. I just know it was like rank 8 by the time I was finished.
Yeah, I sort of, the one big interface thing that I wish they would have changed is, if you're looking at the main screen, down in the lower left-hand corner, you have that pop-out menu that shows, you know, here's what level your anger is, here's what level all those sort of buffs, like permanent buffs and debuffs are. I sort of wish they would have put that in, like, the main menu of the game, where you're looking at all your stats, because some of those, it would have been nicer to see a little bit more information about, or a little bit clearer stuff, because some of that stuff is like, okay, so I have, you know, like glamour, where it's like, cool, I'm glamorous now. It's like, is that good? Am I screwing my game up? Some of that was a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, did you guys beat the game in one day? One in-game day, I should say.
No. I died a bunch of times.
I did a bunch of quests that required me to, like, come back in 2 days or something like that. So
yeah, Ghost Town or whatever it's called is the worst for that.
That's the one I have written down as probably my favorite quest here, is Ghostwood.
It's the best and the worst at the same time.
So if anyone hasn't played it, like, please go play this game. But Ghostwood is so great just for the sheer hilarity of you having to run between buildings in this town and sign this form, and then, like, the game totally got me, because it keeps asking a question of, like, what's your first and last name, what's your middle name, and, like, what's all these different stats. And the one time I actually got everything needed to fill out the form, I put the wrong name in. So I kept having to remember, oh, what's this BS name I put in? So for the rest of this, it took me like an hour to get this dumb quest done. I kept having to say the wrong name.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
I can't remember what the middle name was, but I always went for Justice. I was just like, yeah, it's Justice. Number 4 on my keyboard, it's always Justice. Oh, nice. I am first name Justice, last name. And I just kept on messing her up because I didn't have the pencil, or the pencil wasn't the right size. Yep. But when I actually got it to register, it was, like, weirdly appropriate. I don't think it's actually what I'm about to say, but it's something along those lines. It was like, first name Vape Lord, last name. I was like, the one time I got it right, I put the wrong middle name in, so I had to put that middle name in for every single other time that they asked me for my middle name. It was like, this is the worst. It's the worst.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's, like, an in-game dialogue or a conversation with someone where they ask you your middle name and you can tell them a word or something. And
yeah, I got that really early on, just from, like, a random conversation where I was like, I don't know, danger? And they're like, okay. Yeah. I was like, oh no, what have I done?
Let's say I'm pretty sure that's what I chose. So, like, through that whole thing, I just kept putting danger for whatever it was. But
I do have to ask, if you did the Ghostwood quest line, when you went and got, because you're doing, that's part of doing the favors for the mayor from the other town. I can't remember the name.
Redwood.
Yes.
Which is such a great town name.
Did you leave your pencil behind?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could have snapped my keyboard in half, because I was just like, I'm finally done. I'm going back. I forgot my what now. I will kill you.
Yep. I
it's
don't
just
know
like,
why.
just like the last screw you on this amazing screw you quest is just like, oh, where's your pencil? And it's just like, oh god, it's in Brentwood.
And I love.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I love all the office names. Are like it's all regular stores. Like here's the bar, here's the mailman, here's storage. But really, this is the adjacent office of requisitions, or like
the second adjunct office of requisitions, which is
Yeah.
next door to that one.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
keep
like,
asking them. It's like, well, what building's that? And they're like, it's the saloon. It's like, oh god. That's probably an outstanding one of my favorite quests in the game. Is there's some really good ones like that one. Hunting down the jelly beans.
Yep, the jelly beans is good.
Almost all the Breadwood hunting down quests were really good, and some of them were a lot more detailed than I thought. One that I really liked was the Moonpear and I had talked about it, was the hat factory.
Yep, the hat factory is incredible.
Where you're hunting down 4 rooms, I think it is. And it
might be 5.
Yeah, something like that. And you're basically going to each room, and it's 6 hats, and you have to figure out which one actually has a
6. Come on, dude, it's 9. It's 9 in every room.
Oh, it's 9. Yes. You have to figure out which one has a bandit hiding under it.
And it's really cool because it's like one guy's asleep, one guy you have to activate the music for.
Yeah.
The first 2 are really obvious. Like you do the first 2, it's like, well, clearly it's that guy right there.
It's the other colored hat.
Yeah. And then you get to the last one and you're just like, I honestly can't tell the difference. And I've played all 3 different kinds of music, which are on a 3-second loop. And I'm going crazy right now because I can't figure out what this last room is.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think another one in Breadwood was the one where you go to that town and all of the buildings are fake. And eventually you have to go through the outhouse to go behind to sort of smush everybody with one of the buildings. I thought that one was really good.
Did you guys mess with the clowns at all?
Yes, this was actually something I was about to bring up, was finding the circus in the very first zone was really incredible and really creepy at the same time.
I didn't find the circus. I meant to go back and find it, and I just didn't.
You kind of need to, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, Musum, you might have this same experience with the clowns are demons from the cow hell dimension, aren't they?
Something like I wasn't sure if it was a separate hell dimension or if it was the same, but yeah, the head clown is like Duke of the Ninth Ring of Hell or something like that, you know?
Like there is definitely some form of, excuse the pun here, beef between the cows and the clowns, because once you found the circus, you find a random encounter with a bunch of clowns, and then you can find another place which has clowns fighting cows. And the clowns are talking all kinds of smack, like this is like a 500-year-long war between the cows and the clowns. It's just like, what is going on? It's really creepy, especially when you get to the circus and you see the freak show.
Oh, yeah.
That is some of my favorite writing in the game, because you got the guy who's an eyeball who can't actually speak to you, so you're just talking to yourself while talking to him. The mechanical lady and the gentleman who has got the front of his body on the front and the back. So when he turns around and he resits down again, it describes like all of his bones cracking as they bend the other direction. But weirdly, they're all in chains and they seem to be prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the circus is so much fun and so creepy. I don't think I got far enough into it is my big thing with it, because I did a lot of it and I thought, oh, I need this other thing to do it, and then just kind of got sidetracked by the million other things that are in this game.
Yeah,
it's that's actually one of my gripes on the circus specifically, because to kind of finish out the circus stuff, you got to basically go meet whatever his name is, Barnaby Bill or something like that, and to do that you got to get in the main showroom. But to get in the main showroom, you need to exhaust all the dialogue of everything in the circus, which is really a pain in the butt to actually accomplish. I probably spent, like, I should have beaten this game in 8 hours, but I spent like 15 hours in the game, and like
so did
one
I.
of those, like a half hour to an hour of that was just wandering around the circus, being like, I have everything. Why won't you open so I can get in? And when you do get in, you get you can actually become allies with the clowns if you want. I didn't really see that through. I just sold them some cow parts and moved on. But I was also reading. Oh yeah, this is concerning one of my favorite locations in the game, just because of the backstory. Fort All Dead. Which is
the fort full of skeletons doing the military patrols, like the drills.
Oh yeah.
And I love it because you find the diary and it's like, yeah, a bunch of necromancers brought the skeletal army back to life, and we're going to take it over. But then the skeletons got upset that they were taking orders from civilians and kicked the necromancers out.
That's really good.
Just absolutely ridiculous. But allegedly, and I don't know how you do this, I just read about it online, you can send Fort All Dead against a target. And there are two targets you can send it to, and I know one of them's the circus, but I don't know the results of that. I don't know how that's affects. I don't know how you make it happen.
Do you guys run into the one lady Olive Garden?
No.
The one who's in love with cacti and wishes she could marry a cactus?
I ran into a goblin who was obsessed with cactus.
Oh man, well, her quest is actually really short, but basically, you find her and she's like, she's really going on about how much she loves cacti, and you then say like, well, if you love it so much, and she's like, yeah, I know, if I could marry a cactus, I really would. So you send the guy from the very first town that's dressed up as a cactus, or got transformed or something like that, and then they get married and have little cactus babies.
Yeah, the guy who's reading the paper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a nice little touch.
Oh, man.
So,
go ahead.
There's a random event that happened that I had never seen before. It happened to me late game. Did you guys run into the jogger?
Yes.
That was such an amazing piece of dialogue. So you didn't Moonpeer?
I didn't know. I might have, but I'm not 100% sure because there was so many.
It's just a really brief random text encounter, right? Like as you're traveling, you see someone running. They're slow running. You're like, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm jogging. You're like, what's that? Like, I just invented. It's where you run really slow over a long distance. And you're like, you can't escape a bear that way. How can you get away from a cow or something like that? Why don't you just ride a horse? And you can just keep antagonizing her, and then she's like, you realize she made custom shoes that didn't protect her ankles, and you antagonize her more for that, and she's like, okay, let's fight. And you're like, I'll tell you, like, but the end dialogue option I chose was, okay, we'll fight if you can catch me.
I think I, like, scared her off because I kept poking fun at her that she wasn't even wearing a hat. And then eventually she just, like, runs off and, like, she keeps yelling at me as she runs off and keeps trying to get the last word in. It's really great.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Oh, man.
I mean,
I wrote down a bunch of moments here, so I can...
Yeah, let's keep them clipping through.
Keep them coming. I want to mention the Pickle Factory.
Pickle Factory is really good.
Like, the Haunted Pickle Factory is incredible. Like, you get the ridiculously long, like, dialogue text scene when you first try and go in, where you are being haunted by the person who runs the pickle factory.
Yep.
And it tells you everything you need to know right there in that text. But by the time you're done reading it, you've forgotten the thing that was at the very start of it.
Yep.
It's such a good sequence, and then you've got everybody in each individual room, like the correct level of salt and the correct pressure on the thing and the correct slice and dice thing with the pickles. It's so well done.
I have one more note here before the final stuff, before we get into Musim's list of cool stuff. I really liked, we were talking before about the engine and the design. The one quick throwaway thing, I really like the sneaking animation.
Oh yes, when
it's
you
like
get first
really
into an area, and it's like
drawn out, super sneaky animation. It's so good.
I know Boston didn't get it. Musim, did you get funny walks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Man.
Someone else got it. That cracked me up so much.
What all options menu stuff did you guys unlock?
I think I got funny walks. I might have got one or two, but I can't remember anything except for funny walks.
Yeah.
So there's a colorblind mode.
I actually got that one, but I didn't actually click it. I probably should have clicked it.
Or maybe it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's already.
That's so good.
There's a nostalgia mode, which I kept mine in, and it just makes like the whole page like kind of a tannish color with like the edges a little darkened.
Oh,
that's
cool.
a nice touch.
Let me think. We said stupid walk. I feel like there's one more that I'm forgetting, but it doesn't matter. But there's a few of them.
That's really good.
Funny walks cracks me up because it was one of those things where I had it on for the longest time. I did turn it off eventually, but I just kept it on because it was so funny seeing the different walks. Like when he's doing the worm to walk and he's just worming across the map. But then you go into a cave and he starts riding his lantern like across the screen, or like rolling with it, holding the lantern perfectly straight, rolling it.
That's
like
really
putting
great.
it on his head and doing like the stereotypical Egyptian walk with this lantern on his head. It's so funny, and I probably had that on for half of the game just because they kept on cycling out different animations in different areas. It was so much fun.
It's pretty great. I mean, it starts with that default option for best text mode, where it'll change everything to Arial. But in parentheses, it says, "Please don't do this."
Yep.
I really like that.
Not gonna lie, I did it. I did it at the start. At least I clicked it just to see if it would do anything other than change the text, and it did.
Yeah.
All right, Musin, what else do you have on your list of cool stuff you ran into?
Okay. I want to mention 3 more things. Did you guys let your pet raven go at the beginning?
Yes.
Yes.
And did you, when you encountered Emperor Norton,
yes,
did you resolve it by getting on the train or by giving him a crown?
I didn't have a crown.
Okay. So you did the train one. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got to see your raven come back.
Yeah, yep. So before we get on the train, there's a really great joke because he infects you with his anti-virus, which is Norton's antivirus.
Oh god.
I didn't even make that connection.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
Yeah. That's really good. And it's also Emperor Norton is also a really great reference because there was a guy hundreds of years ago that tried to become the emperor of San Francisco, and he tried to crown himself as Emperor Norton.
Oh, wow.
So it is a really good reference, even though no one likes it being called Frisco.
Yeah. I did like the effect that the antivirus... I can't believe I missed that one.
Yeah, I said it out loud because I'm like, this is an antivirus? Oh.
That's...
I really liked the train because I feel like one of the strongest parts of West of Loathing is at any encounter, or for a lot of these events we're going through, there are often at least 2, if not 3 or 4 ways to resolve it, where it's like, all right, I have enough moxie to beat this, or I can intimidate them, or I can speak goblin so I can get through that way. I really liked that taking down Emperor Norton sort of put all, like, 4 or 5 of those things back to back. Like, one of them is if you have a high enough lockpick skill, which is another minor gripe of mine, which is I sort of wish it was easier to figure out how to level up some of these skills. You know, you could pick this key and then go through, and you know, I had enough people. You know, one of them is like Musin was saying, if you let your Raven go at the beginning of the game, he just attacks Norton, and then you know you can leave. There's that room of people where you can try and grab enough people to sort of intimidate him.
That's what I did. I said, me and this army.
Yes.
See, I'm pretty sure the Raven or Crow or whatever he was, I think he just befriended one of the new passengers when I came by.
Oh, was that it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I did.
Confused.
Something else might have happened there too. I don't know. On the stat thing, by the way, I think I really actually prefer it with assigning my own skill points.
Yeah.
It just gives you a pile of XP and you just funnel it into whatever you want. And it takes all the guesswork out of it.
Yeah, that's actually one of my gripes. I have 2 here that I wrote down, and they're both sort of related. The one is, I really wish there was a quest tracker in the game.
Yep.
You're juggling at times like 15 different quests, and a lot of them you can just go back to the main town and talk to the person, you know, like the sheriff in Brentwood, and he can say like, hey man, have you done this yet? Or talk to your partner and they can say, hey, well, I mean, maybe we should start doing this, but if I could just have a list of them in game, that would be really great.
Yeah.
And I think related to the auto leveling, I found it really hard at points, and I got to the end of the game really fast, and I was under-leveled, but because the game doesn't really show you your level, as far as I can tell, I didn't really have an idea of, you know, Emperor Norton is level X and I'm level Y, so I'm not even close to being ready for that. And for a game that's so reliant on you leveling up and spending all these skills, I was sort of surprised that it wasn't like, you're level 15, this person's level 20. That's about, you know, the difficulty.
Yeah. I didn't have too much of an issue with that because, to be honest, like by the time I got there, I was way over leveled. Because like Musum said, like I could have beat this in 8 hours. I probably took like 15 to 20 because I just wanted to do everything and see everything. And even then I still didn't. But I don't know what it was, but going around, getting all of the locations, finding as many secrets as I could. By the time I got to Norton, he was a cakewalk for me because I'd unlocked the 1, 2, 3 combo.
Yeah, that was really strong.
Which does like 120 damage to one enemy combatant. And when there's just you and one other person in the battle, it's like, okay, this battle's over, and the next one's over, and the next one's over, and the next one's over.
Yeah, as long as you can get the first turn. Yeah.
And I'm assuming, like, because the third fight, no one had to actually fight him, right? Like,
nope, I didn't.
Okay.
I don't remember having to, no.
No, I literally said, he asked who's going to stop me, and I said me and this army, and got all of the passengers to come and help me.
Yeah, I think I grabbed 3 or 4 of the passengers. I think there's 6 or 7 in there.
Yeah.
I think I got all of them, but no, I did get all. I think there was one guy who I just couldn't get. Period. But like even the guy doing the crossword, like I just took some potions until my stat that I needed for him was up, and then I solved it for him. And
that's actually something that I really do appreciate about the game. It has that stomach, liver, and I can't remember what the third one is, but it's like stomach, liver, and maybe it's not moxie.
Bladder? Is it bladder?
It could be bladder, and so it allows you to eat, drink, and use alcohol to increase your stats for the course of a day. Right at the start of the game, I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to start using like heavy increases for those things," which is why I managed to beat the game in a day, like to get the stupid Steam achievement for it, is because I had kind of high stats, and then as soon as I get something that would increase it by like 6, I would take that, and then keep going, and by the time I was leveling up some more, I've got another like stomach starts at like 1 of 1, and by the end of the game I was like 3 of 5. So it increases your ability as you level up to be able to eat and drink and consume more potions to increase those stats. Jeez. So that, I think by the end I was cakewalking it, because it was like, oh, I had Stardust at the start of the game, which gives you +6 and everything. And then there was something else that gave me +5, and then something else that gave me +5 for everything. So, like, I was rolling everybody by the end of that game. It was so much fun to just walk in and be like, boop, you're dead. Boop, you're dead.
Punching
Did either of you guys find the Necromancer?
I didn't. I don't think is this one of your other cool moments? Because I was...
the Necromancer, it is one of the moments I wrote down. It isn't necessarily like a... super funny. Well, like for me, it was you find his tower, and it's not too far from the buffalo pile. Like as you're going through the game, like, and as you find undead things, you just look in your Necromancer journal, or you look at your items, and it'll add stuff to it, and gradually figure out where it is. And some of it you got to cross-reference with stuff, right? So you'll be like you find out about ley lines. Well, you don't know anything. Like if you're not a mage, I assume mages get to know about ley lines. I could be wrong, but
you've got to take that to the
a professor. It's spelled weird, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the professor, and then he fills you in, and then you add that additional information into your necromancy book. This is the one thing I was telling you about last week, Boston. Like referring to the necromancy journal in your, not the spell learning thing, but just a journal of all the hints for the necromancy stuff.
Right.
Well, like I learned about half the Nex-Mex books. I decided I wasn't going to go full necromancer because it just affected my moxie and HP too much, and I was having too hard a time with the other stuff in it. But when you're in the necromancy tower, there's like 3 levels, and each level has more necromancy spells you can learn. And those necromancy spells immediately take care of whatever encounter is on that floor. So like I had learned enough spells to where I could read the initial one and then get rid of the encounter on the first floor. When I got to the necromancer, like I didn't even have to fight him. It basically gave me a text dialogue and was like, this guy's almost nothing. You can just touch him and he'll fall to dust, which is what I did.
Oh, wow.
But like reading online, it sounds like sometimes there is a fight, and I don't know what draws that line. I was just wondering, I guess you guys wouldn't have gotten anything else, but
yeah.
The other weird encounter I did was, did you guys find the portal to the cow hell place?
I did not. I kind of wish I did.
So, and that is like the cow stuff is easier to find with Susie because all the cow stuff is at ranches.
Yep.
And Susie's shtick is she's always telling you about ranch locations.
Ah.
Yep. So this one, you actually go down, there's like a burnt down barn and like a tear in the fabric of reality, right? With a bell. And you can hit the bell and fight random encounters. Well, there's also...
I found that location because I remember just fighting a bunch of cows to make Susie stronger. I was like, well, Susie hasn't leveled up sufficiently enough for me, so I'm just going to keep ringing this bell and get Susie leveled up a few times.
Well, and I did that too. I did that there, and I did that at the crypt place, just because I wanted to fill out my stats a bit more. But there's a random encounter you can get in that area if you wander around or just pass it, and you will find the Infernal Hammer. And with the Infernal Hammer, you hit it, and you summon the Cow Lord Duke Bovicus, which is a wonderful name.
Oh man!
But you can trap him in like some weird little circle thing, and like it's awesome because like you talk to him, and he's like, "Look, I'll give you a boost if you let me out of here." And you're like, "Okay, give me the boost." He gives you the boost, and then you have the option to still leave him there.
Oh wow,
that's really
good.
And then in like the ending credits season, the ending credits thing, I don't know if there was like a stampede thing or something it talked about.
There was. Yep, but talked about the stampede.
Since I had trapped Duke Bovicus, the stampede didn't know where to go and was aimless and didn't do any harm.
Oh wow.
When I got that, it talked about how an army of clowns came out and fought back the cows.
Jeez. That's so good.
Oh man, clowns are so creepy in this game. But I think that's all the moments I wrote down. But
yeah, I feel like we're sort of getting to the end here. Anyone have any sort of last loves or gripes about West of Loathing?
Not off the top of my head. My only other really love was the fact that me and Musum screenshotted the exact same thing.
Yeah, same Pennywise it joke.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool stuff and really cool unlockable stuff in that game, but I think like at the end of the circus, like they give you a year's supply of dynamite, but I can't imagine stat-wise that you would have gotten there. Unless you'd already made it to the second area. So I think they have some pacing things that could be better. I think some of the combat lasts probably longer than it needed to. And I probably feel that way because I had to debuff all the enemies before I could attack them, you know?
Yeah. The thing I love most about this is it's like we've talked previously, especially on TVGP, about the paralysis of choice that you can run into in like an Assassin's Creed game or anything like that, where you pop into this open world and there's a million things to do and you don't know what to do. You kind of get lost in that options. Whereas I feel like the reason that this game, it still has tons of choices. It unlocks more and more and more as you go as well. So you start off with 1 or 2, and then before you know it, you've got 50 things on your map. The biggest difference I feel is the thing this game does so well is every time you go to one of these places, you are making progress, getting rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they have purpose and they have meaning. It's not just go there to get some rewards. There is so many ties into all of the different plot lines. There's the alien technology, there's the cow hell space, there's the clowns, there's the necromancy, there's so much stuff. We haven't barely talked about the goblins. Like there's so much like story content included that's not even necessary, but it feels rewarding to go to all these different places and get little hints of all of the different story, and then you go follow what you want to go and follow.
Yeah. Well, and what I like is each location has, like we talk about, so many options about how to, if you have high moxie or you have high strength, there's almost always going to be an option for you to use your primary skills or primary stats to get through an encounter, and it very clearly changes the encounter, it changes the text based on that stuff, and I think that's why I would want to go back and play through another time as another thing, just to see, like, all right, well, last time I intimidated and it did this time I'm going to use my mysticality and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and let's see how that changes.
Yeah.
It's they do really good about almost always giving you multiple options for stuff, and it's such good writing, and like the style of the game and the music. Ryan Ike was the composer guy for it. I think just fits the mood of it perfectly, and
he nailed it really well.
God, we didn't even talk about building up dirt water. Like, there's so much to do in there.
Yeah.
Get the band together at the bar too, and like,
there's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, I think we could probably spend about another hour talking about West of Loathing, but if you've listened to this far and you haven't played it, just go play it. It's less than $10. It's incredible, and I cannot recommend it enough. But that's this month's game. So let's talk about the next game chosen by you, the patrons. It was yet another really close round, but as yesterday's poll closed, the Swapper won. This is the puzzle platformer time travel-ish thing.
Yep.
Yeah. This came out on a lot of platforms, so let's break them down because you probably own one of them. PC, OS X, Linux, PS3, PS4, Vita, Wii U, and Xbox One.
Yep, I already own it on the Xbox One.
Yeah, I have it somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it was a PS Plus game 1 month.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And I think I got it in a Humble Bundle too, so I think I have it.
Check your Steam library, it's probably already, like Left 4 Dead 2, it's probably already there.
I know nothing about this game. I actually thought it was a multiplayer only game, so
yeah,
I'm already
I believe it's
basically
primarily a time traveling puzzle game. So
yep,
I'm
sounds
pretty
good.
pumped. It's pretty different from what we've picked before. So the Swapper will be our next game. We'll have 4 weeks to talk about that, and we will see you again next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, and thank you very much, everyone, for watching and hanging out with us live or watching the archive. We'll see you next time. Bye.